Hi everyone, I'm Stanek, founder CEO of GoodData. I would like to talk to you about analytics as code today and why analytics as code. I really enjoyed Ryan's and Donald's presentation or dialogue about analytics as code. And I would like to look into some of the key principles of analytics as code. So why we are kind of moving into analytics as code era, it's driven by the complexity of data and analytics. We are moving away from the simple dashboarding era into much more complex confluence of analytics, BI, machine learning, AI, Gen AI. And this complexity will require different practices and different engineering discipline to provide our end users with a consistent end user experience. And the best way how to do it today is to learn from software development principles. So what are these principles? There are fundamentally two. One is that all elements, and it sounds very complicated, all analytics, components like ETL, transformation, data models, metrics, different types of dashboards, user management, everything that actually defines the end user analytics experience can and needs to be described and manipulated and controlled through code. It doesn't mean that I, as an end user, need to define my dashboard with code, but I need to be able to take that dashboard, save it as code, put it into some code repository, version it, automate it, test it, um, collaborate on it, and so on. So this is the first step. We need to be able to manipulate through code. The second principle is that this code cannot be some sort of a machine only representation as that's the way it is done today. It needs to be something that can be actually human readable, like Python, YAML, JSON, and so on. So I can actually go into that code and I can change my definition. I can define my metrics if I prefer working with code. So this kind of duality of visual and the code is the fundamental principle of analytics as code. End users work with visual tools, and engineers and operations people and testing teams can then work with code and fully automate it. And when we say analytics as code, we don't mean just visualization and dashboarding. We mean, as you can see on this slide, we mean the whole end-to-end analytics value chain, if you will. Analytics as code starts with getting the data, transforming the data, managing the data all the way through the semantic model, metrics, visualization, and dashboards. And it all can be actually put into an end-to-end solution stored in some GitHub or Bitbucket or any kind of similar analytics and version control tool. So those are the two main principles of analytics as code. But let's take a look at GoodData and how do we actually plug it into the GoodData. So there are two components of GoodData solution, and these two components together, as you see on the slide, are producing the resulting experience. We can call it a data product. We can call it a dashboard. It can be any sort of experience that provides some analytics. And so what are the two components? One is the analytics as code data pipeline. I just spoke about it. It's the ability to download and transform and manage and cleanse and shape and just work with data. And then the second piece is the GoodData Analytics platform that actually consists of multiple compute modules, BI front-end, AI experiences, multi-tenancy, different types of caching, semantic modeling, and so on. And these modules are all provisioned, managed, and defined as code. So if I'm operations manager, if I'm analytics manager, I can actually combine these modules into the data product, and I can actually combine it with my analytics as code data pipeline and manage it as kind of, again, end-to-end value chain. And the benefit of good data compute modules is that they can be actually deployed in any public or private cloud as long as this cloud supports Kubernetes. So we would call it Switzerland of analytics. We really work on any system in any location in any territory. And so this ability to manage good data compute modules and analytics pipeline, even remotely when it's deployed in multiple locations, that's one of the big benefits of analytics as code. And so let's kind of look at these benefits in totality. What are different ways how to look at analytics as code? So I just spoke about the ability to manage and remotely deploy and change. But the main benefit of analytics as code is actually increased productivity. I don't need to go and recreate my dashboard if I can just take a piece of code and copy it and duplicate it and change few lines. I can fully automate very complex analytics deployments with thousands of dashboards, with thousands of different data sources, all connected differently, because the code can be arbitrarily complex. And if you look at, again, I mentioned on the first slide that this is all inspired by the software, the best practices in software engineering. And our software engineers are deploying millions of lines of code that work in, very complex applications. So in a way, the data problem is actually relatively simple compared to the software problem. And yet, for many, many decades, the data and analytics was designed to be super manual, super brittle, and this is what we are changing. The next benefit of analytics as code is the ability to do rollbacks and versioning. So I can just test, I can experiment, I can build a new dashboard, see how it works. I can roll it back, I can version it. I can use different versions for different departments. I can use different versions of dashboard for different customers. It's all managed and deployed centrally. The next one is collaboration. And I think this is the fundamental problem with analytics and Donald Farmer spoke about it in his interview with Ryan. The fact that analytics always rely on a super persona, on some sort of analytics unicorn who knew how to manage data, who knew how to deploy some visualization tool, who knew how to actually get analytics done. And that obviously doesn't scale. We need to be able to scale analytics across the whole company. And that means involving multiple personas, data engineers, analytics engineers, testing teams, operations teams, quality teams, and so on. So the collaboration that the analytics as code enables with best practices and tooling and kind of CI/CD, continuous integration, continuous delivery processes is highly differentiated. And the last benefit of analytics as code is the ability to work iteratively. I can actually develop the first version of my dashboard. I can test it with my audiences. I can improve it. I can go back. I can share it with additional audiences. So ability to actually grow and kind of start small and expand with code is something that's unique to analytics as code. Because if I did it in Visual Tool, I would never be able to go back and see what changes I made and what would actually break if I make this change or that change. So the iterativity and productivity are the main benefits of analytics as code. So let's take a look at two examples. I have two videos here that I would like to share with you today. That actually these videos demonstrate the benefits of analytics as code. So let's assume that I have my analytics project, and I would like to deploy this analytics project to multiple many departments or even clients at a large scale. So I will start with my production environment. That's the one I need to scale. And in a traditional way, I would have to go and just copy visually and make sure that I'm not making any mistake. And then, all the changes I would make to the original space or workspace, I would have to copy to new workspaces. With analytics as code, I can go into the code. I can start a routine that will create automatically multiple workspaces. And not only that, I have immediately workspaces or analytic spaces for my departments or customers. Because of the GoodData inheritance, any change I make to the original workspace will actually propagate to these workspaces. So now if I have an e-commerce company, I now have seven customers or six original workspace plus six new ones, and they are all linked through inheritance. I can make changes to only one. So that's one example of analytics as code. And as you can see, I can go to the newly created dashboard for customer A, and I see what was in the original template. So let's take a look at another example, and that is ability to update metrics, visualizations, and other objects across multiple environments. So let's say company is calculating DSO, days sales outstanding, and this DSO is either defined once or defined multiple times in accounting, in sales, in commission planning, any place where I need to know how my customers are actually paying. And this can actually scale. If I need to change this DSO, I can go to a piece of code. I can define this DSO once. And if I go to my code, I can see in this case, I'm actually have a customer account, and I can change my definition of my customer. I can redeploy the system. And from this moment, in every single dashboard, in any single visualization, in any metric definition, if I go and look at my customers, I can actually see that my customer is no longer 5,000, but 4,600. So you can actually see how quickly I was able to change my metrics and automate the full process. So that's the power of analytics as code. And thank you very much today. Thank you.